Bellevue. Beautiful view. And you know, there are a lot of Bellevues in France. A lot of Chateau Bellevues. But this is a place that has a beautiful view. And why is that? Well, because it comes from Montagne Saint-Emilion in Bordeaux. And of course, that is the mountain of Saint-Emilion, which is the highest point in all of the right bank. So, yes, it is a Bellevue. But anyways, so I don't know, I'm kind of going off on this whole Bellevue thing, but you know, you have a lot of Bellevues and Bel Airs and all Bell, because it's beautiful. You know, I mean, the wine country is beautiful. And this specific area, Montagne, it's kind of, you know, it's one of those areas that should get more recognition than it does because it's got spectacular terroir as well. And in fact, this property, Chateau Bellevue, Montagne, back in 1855, was recognized as a premier cru. Back then, there was no, there was hierarchy, you know, when it came to the left bank, what the first gross, second gross, but in the right bank, you know, you still had, you know, you had the shovels and all that stuff. But in 1855, I mean, the right bank was let's just say, kind of on an even playing field, unlike it is today. But that's good for you because wines that come from this region are value priced, yet hold that clay over limestone terroir that is so famous in like places like Saint-Emilion. So Kyle and I were at Wine Paris, right? And we're tasting wines after wines after wines after wines, and you know, I mean, a lot of them are, you know, let's just say, okay. And when we tasted this wine, it was like, and like the Pillerins, that was at the same tasting. You know, it was like, whoa. And it comes from 2010, which is one of the great vintages of the 21st century. So let's talk a little bit about Chateau Bellevue, Montagne, the Saint-Emilion. And you can see by the color of the glass, it's already starting to show a little bit of that 15 years of age. You know, you're starting to get a little bit of that browning at the rim. But you know what's really cool about this winery is that it's been part of the Goury family since 1830. And basically you have, you know, 6 generations, and now Eric Goury is now manning the show. And what they do here is, you know, everything is done hand-picked, hand-sorted. They use concrete vats, which now is kind of like the cool thing. And then they age the wines for 3 years before they bottle. I mean, I know some people do that, you know, but not too many. And they have, because they're on the mountain, Saint-Emilion, the Montagne, they have underground cellars, limestone. So it just sits there in this perfectly aged limestone cellar for 3 years before they bottle. But what's even cool about this wine is that this wine is a recent release from those limestone caves. So it's been stored in perfect temperature controlled environment for, you know, let's see, for 3 years in bottle, minus 15, so that's like 12 years. So like 12 years, they've been like sitting in this perfect environment for the wine age for us to sell to you today. So anyways, as you know, right bank, mainly Merlot here with a little bit of Cabernet Franc. Ooh, boy, noticed the Fontaine glass. This glass is like, it brings out everything in the wine. You know, when we did the whole testings and stuff, when we were smelling, it's like, I mean, they nailed it. It's so like, bah, you know, it just blows up. I have not tasted this wine since its arrival, I should say. The last time I tasted it was Wine Paris. So it's kind of, we're doing this together, you know? The nose is already like expressing cassis and plums and a little bit of minerality you get from that limestone. Ooh, boy. So you have fine tannins. No, they're not, this is not a big one. This is elegance right now. This is elegant Bordeaux. So, and that's what happens with Bordeaux in age. You know, oh, I want this big rye. No. When Bordeaux ages, it turns elegant. It's refined. It's silky. It's long on the palate. And you know, when we were tasting hundreds of wines every day, when you taste something like this and it just glides across the palate, you're like, aha, bingo. Now, you know, the vineyards are all HVE3 certified. I mean, so the guy's doing everything right. And then you have a great vintage like 2010, 15 years in the bottle, shippable 6-pack cardboard, $20. That's right, $19.98 for a 15-year-old wine that was once considered a premier cru back in 1855. But then they changed everything around. So Montagne doesn't have any classification now. Should, but doesn't. And because of that, you win because $20. $20. Crazy. Seriously, folks, this is such fun in a bottle. It really is. It's what I look for when I look for old Bordeaux. It's so, you know, it's funny. I remember a trip that I took to Bordeaux. It was like 2005, and I found the 96 Lanison. And you guys remember how we sold pallets of that wine. That wine was only 9 years old, but it felt so old back then. This is 15 years old from a great vintage. 96 great vintage as well, but 10 a great vintage. And literally, you can't go wrong for $20. This wine is spectacular. Buy by the 6-pack. You will not regret it.